we're live, and we're live, and we're live, and we're live. I can't help the dancing. Okay, we are talking today about the pain of being a real estate agent. This is going to be an interesting one, I feel like. So we want to talk about how you deal with the emotional stressors of doing this job at any level in the business. Jess is bouncing up and down because she can feel the pain in her body. I can feel it in mine too. So, all this stuff that happens, like I'm too busy, I can't handle this pain. I need to hire, but I'm afraid to pain. I'm not busy enough and I'm freaking out pain. What am I doing with my life? Everything is completely out of control pain, right? Like all of these things are very real issues that every real estate agent deals with. And I know this because we just came off of an interview right before we went live with someone who's very, very high level in the business and actually very famous in the business. And it turns out she struggles with these pains too. So raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about.
I feel very attacked right now by your statement.
Right.
So there's that.
I'm like attacking myself. This is like the dirty, dirty stuff that like no one actually talks about in real life. So let's like take 2 seconds and talk about the current pains that we're each feeling. Angela, why don't you start?
I mean, like physical pain. My back hurts, number one. I mean, honestly, it's growing. And for me, knowing that in order to grow, I have to get out of the way. And that I'm not the right person to be training my people. And I'm not as good of a leader as I am a realtor. So that realization has been pretty painful for me. A lot of self-reflection, and it sucks when you're so focused on growing whatever you can, and then to realize, oh, you can't grow anymore because of you.
Well, that's interesting. Like, I've never heard you say that before. Like, what do you mean you're not a good leader? I'm really shocked to hear you say that. So like, sorry, we're going to get personal for a second.
I would say I'm not, I can't listen to excuses very well. So I would say that I'm not the most empathetic person when it comes to people's lack of success or their entitlement to success. I'm not empathetic the way I probably should be to be in that role. I hear a lot of excuses and I stop listening. So I would say that's obviously a character flaw for me, but it's, something that I'm not sympathetic or empathetic to that side of things. Not that I don't want to be, it's just, I had to get through it. So why should I make it easy on everybody else? I don't think that if it's handed to you, you're going to appreciate as much, or you're going to work as hard if you don't have to work for it yourself. So, but I think that's where it comes from. But yeah, I mean, you guys know me, I'm in like 90 different directions all the time. So focusing on growing other businesses of mine, when I know that the real estate company is okay without me and probably better off without me. And it allows me to focus on the stuff that I'm more fascinated with and interested by, because the second you master something personality-wise, if you're like me, which obviously we all are, I get bored. So, yeah. Oh, sorry. Annette had a question. She said she just joined. What was the question?
We're talking about panicking and like how we panic in all of the ways. We have too much business. We have too little business. We need to leverage. We need to do this. I need to be a mom. I need to be a wife. So we're talking about panicking today.
Yeah. So Jess, right now we're talking about like what are our current panics, because in an effort to be vulnerable, which maybe leads to other people talking about this stuff, because no one ever talks about this stuff. It's just unicorns and roses. We make $1 billion and we're all so happy. Jess, what is your panic right now?
Oh, what isn't my panic? I think is probably the better question for me. So I panic when I'm busy. I panic when I'm not busy. I had 3 listings this weekend who decided to not go on the market. So I'm panicking. Anybody who's listened for like the littlest bit of time, you guys knew I was trying to convince my husband to quit his job. That has happened. And now I'm panicking that he has done what I would like him to do. There's not one thing that I'm probably not panicking about right now. I don't know. I just feel like I exist in a constant state of anxiety in this business. It's either whether it's feast or famine, and things are good. And I have absolutely nothing to be complaining about right now. And I, on a brain level, know that. On a soul level, I'm in panic mode.
Yeah. I feel similarly. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like what really sucks about this business sometimes is it's just like, you can never just like be, right? So like, I'm definitely into busy panic mode, and I'm also in the summertime and I'm traveling every single week, and like my personal life is super crazy and busy right now. And so I'm definitely feeling overwhelmed for sure, which I don't really feel like that often. So I'm panicking about why I feel overwhelmed. I used to do a lot more. So now I'm like panicking that I suck because I'm overwhelmed. And I used to do a lot more. But then it's always this weird undercurrent of like, but I need to be doing more. So like, okay, I just got these 15 tasks off my list. Now I got to go and do more, get more business, do more things, because if I don't, then like next month, I'm going to be panicking because I am not busy. I can never just be. I'm also panicking because I need to hire. I want to grow my team back up, and I'm just not doing it. And I'm like angry with myself about it.
Well, and I think that's another part of the panic, the higher level you get, right? Like I'm constantly like, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And everybody else that's at the same level I am is growing, and I'm just still sitting here. And so then I'm constantly comparing myself to everyone else, and I'm just not, and again, brain wise, I understand and know that I'm just not ready yet to take that leap for whatever reason. And I'll get there, but then we play the comparison game, and I feel like I'm behind the curve, and I'm panicking that I'm never going to be as great as I think I could be because I'm not doing what you're doing or Angela's doing or Kristen, right? Like, oh, real estate, man.
I think part of it is the second you achieve a goal, you can't just enjoy it if you're us for whatever reason. You have to immediately set a new goal and immediately figure out how to beat the last thing that you did. Like it's just a stupid competition that we all have with ourselves and with each other. And it sucks. And I don't know how to stop it, but it's definitely something that is a real thing. And I find that every single time I accomplish something, I'm like, okay, now what do I have to do next? It's like, you can't just sit and enjoy it.
And if you don't have that feeling, then you're panicking about having to do something next. So it's either like, I need for more, I can do more, I need to be doing the things that other people are doing, or it's like, oh my God, I did it. Shit, fuck, damn it, I have to go do it again. Because now I've like created this lifestyle or this machine that requires me to go do it again. But what if I can't? I'm scared. And
go ahead. Sorry.
I just was going to say, I just wonder if this is a woman thing, and if men panic like this. I don't know the answer to that. I've always wondered that. Surely we're more emotional, which to me means that we're probably more prone to panicking, but I don't know.
If I had to guess, I would say probably not. Like I'm really good friends with a lot of high level, male realtors in the business. And I don't know if I've ever heard them be like, Jessica, I'm panicking. And I would be like, what does that even look like for you? Right. And I'd be like, let's start crying together then, because that's what we do now.
No, that would freak me out. I don't like it when men are, to me, when men are freaked out, then I'm like, oh, the world is definitely ending. Like, so Annette says her panic was no business because she finished school during COVID, have adult kids and family living temporarily with them. I keep thinking things should have now been busier by now. I need boundaries and time for my business. I love real estate. Yeah, that's tough when the family obligations start to infringe on the business life. And then she also says, would goal setting help? Then take it a little easier, give it a break. Not for me. So I sit every night, and I've done this for 15 years. I journal. Well, I do two things. I like brain dump a manifestation of just anything that I want. I want an airplane. I don't really want an airplane, but you know what I mean. I want to be in love. I want all these things. So like I brain dump that for like 15 minutes, and then I have my goals and my affirmations set, and I write those down for another 15 minutes every night before I go to bed. So no, goal setting hasn't helped me. Everyone should have measurable goals written down, but that doesn't save the panic for me.
I could never imagine a world where I didn't have goals. Like, I don't know how that's even like, and I don't mean this like disrespectfully, but like my personality type, like I have to have a goal, and I do similar to what Lindsay does, but mine is more like, so I have daily goals, what needs to be accomplished during the week, the month, the quarter, and the year. And they're measurable. Like anybody who knows me, you can walk into my office or go into my purse at any given time, and I have notebooks filled with all the stuff that's in my head and all the stuff that needs to happen and all the stuff that we're going to do. And so I think that like, if you're in a place where you're panicking, the most obvious thing to do is to sit down and write down a plan, and to sit down and write down what's in your head, and to make it a goal. Because when we look at if we looked at the yearly goal, we're never going to get there. But that's why we look at the daily goal.
My problem with goals is when I have them written down, which I do all the time, even if it's like a 5-year goal, I immediately will figure out a way to do it way faster and like force myself to just go do it like right away. I'm one of those like doer people. Because I wanted to start another business in, 3 years. I wanted to start a charcuterie business. And I was like, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just do it overnight. So that's what I did. Because that's how I am. And I just don't know how to get around it. Like I have tons of goals, but instead of, I can't have time related goals. I have to just, if I see something that needs to be done, I just go do it. Mm-hmm. And that's just a character flaw in me. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to fix that, but
I don't think that's a flaw though. I think that that's somebody who you do set goals. You just go and do them faster than the rest of us. Like yours is maybe like a daily goal. Like you just do something daily. But I mean, there's plenty of times where, I've hit my goal long before, the plan was, and that's okay. You still have goals though, and you hit them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's multi-millions of people on the planet who cannot stick to their goals, who would absolutely love to be able to annihilate them the way that you do. But I feel similarly, then it's just like, okay, what's next? There's never any
enjoyment.
You just never feel content. I think content is a really good way to put it, because I don't believe like you're always happy and you're living in this state of euphoria. I just never feel content, and I never feel like I can just be. And if I hit the goal already, then I need to set a new goal. If I haven't hit the goal yet, what am I doing to get my ass there as fast as possible? Like there's just never an opportunity to just be. And so I think I've learned to lean into it and just like snuggle up to it and just know that this is the way that life is in this business. And at least for me, I don't think that I think we're the anomaly maybe.
Well, I also want people who are listening today to hear, like, we're not talking about this because we have like the self-help end all be all to the answer to this question. We're talking about this because these are real things that everyone that I know in this business goes through. And we just want to bring light to the real stuff that goes on in this business, because that's our mission, right? Is to be real about what it's like to be moms and wives and business owners and real estate agents. So I don't think there's not an answer. So Annette says she's the youngest of 8 and mother of 5, and finding her routine because she panicked a lot raising 5 kids and having to be somewhere or doing something. I'm going to try a routine. She says she feels bad at it. How do you establish a routine if you don't have one, guys?
I mean, my biggest advice, if you don't have a routine, do not put yourself into something super regimented, right? Like I always look at it like skincare. Like if you're someone who's never done skincare, don't go buy the 25-step skincare line, go buy the 2-step skincare line and start there. Same thing with the routine. Like, block out 3 hours a day and that's it. And follow those 3 hours a day to a T. And once you've mastered that, maybe you don't even need anything beyond those 3 hours. Maybe you don't need more than that in your business with your goals, right? But grow from there. Don't start big, start small, because when you start really, really big, I think that's where it feels overwhelming and you're going to panic about that too.
So I don't have a routine. Mine's different every day. I call it organized chaos. So that's how I live my life, which is probably not good, but it works for me. I know what all I have to accomplish for the day, and I don't really make like a list written down. It's all up here, which is probably terrifying for some of you. But you know, I don't always have, you know, here's what I'm doing every day. I think it's okay for some people and some personalities to not have a routine. And I can't imagine not having a routine with 5 kids. But I assume you have some kind of a routine. You just might not realize it. But yeah, I would say start small, just like Jess said, and just do some things and try and incorporate a little bit. Don't like jump right into it and all of a sudden have like 18 planners and shit. Like, that's not going to work. Like, I'm really good about buying a sweet planner and then not using it. That's like my MO. I'm like, oh, this is cute. I love it. I'm going to use it forever. And then like a month later, I'm like, nothing's written down anymore. Shit's all empty.
And mine's called the Bible. Like, if it's not in the Bible, it doesn't exist.
That's what whippers out at lunch and have like a whole thing.
I'm digital, so it literally goes everywhere with me, except for last month when I lost it for like 2 hours and I actually thought it was going to die. But I think a routine is, I definitely think a routine. I mean, Angela, I feel like if you really think about it first, and look, high performing, high D type of people are obstinate by nature. So like, I get being like, I don't have a routine. I just do what I want and I make it fucking rain. Right. But like, I feel like if you were to like, which is definitely what you do, but, and I'm obstinate as well. That wasn't a dig, but I only say that because I am that way myself. But I feel like if you were to really dig into your life, there's some kind of something there, right? Like, you're in some places the same time on certain days. You do something in the morning, right? Even if it's just like wake up, stretch, put on your makeup. Like, there's some kind of, I guess I just feel like any super high performing person isn't doing things purposefully, even if they maybe don't realize that they are.
I think it's unconscious at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something I think about or put any thought into. But yeah, there's probably some kind of quote unquote routine, but nothing that I have written down, nothing set in stone. Every single day I have a different schedule other than my non-negotiables, I guess, which is put on makeup, wash your ass, that kind of thing. Like, I don't have to.
That's not even a non-negotiable for me. Like, I look like a homeless person more than I don't.
That's a routine though. But I mean, this is an interesting conversation to me in itself, because like, I am 100% fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm like the best when I'm just going with it, I feel like. But I have like a base routine, even if the schedule changes every single day. And I bet you would say you do too, if you dug into it a little bit more.
Maybe.
Well, I think
one of my pain points, since you brought that up first, one of my pain points was delegation. I was super, super, super bad at it. I was really bad at growth. And then all of a sudden I figured it out, and I just delegated everything. Like,
yeah, now she's like, you get a job, and you get a job, and you get a job, and we all get a job.
Everybody gets a job. Yeah. Now Angela just has to go sell a shitload of houses to pay everyone's salary. But yeah, I'm like, delegate all the things. Like, now I only do the shit I want to do, period. Which is super freeing. I don't think it's stressful. That's kind of the opposite for me. Like, I think if I don't have to do the stuff I don't want to do, like, I'm not going to procrastinate those things, because normally I would. And I would hate doing it. And I just feel like I'm freaking 38, almost 39. I don't want to do any shit I don't want to do ever again.
Why? What? because we're old.
We're almost 39, so
Yeah.
say that.
Okay, so not everyone can just jump into 7th level like this, right? And delegate all the things. So if you had advice for someone who's in that like burnout, not happy, I want more space, what do you think is one thing or two things that they could start to delegate immediately that would help them, and Jess?
I would make a list of all the things that you love doing and all the things you hate doing, and literally figure out who you can hire to take care of all those things that you hate doing. That's all I did.
Yeah, I mean, I have since dismantled my team, and then I'm going to put it back together, I think. Stay tuned. But that was the advice that I received from my coach was take a week to 2 weeks and journal at like just through the day as you're going through your day, every single thing that you do not like doing. And then you train your assistant on the number 1, and then you train them on the number 2. And then so you just keep offloading things that you hate or that take you out of your joy or that frustrate you or that, let's be honest, you're not good at. Because a lot of people, and I've done it myself, can get to the point in their real estate business where they're holding on to too much stuff that they're not good at or that they have no joy in, and they're actually hurting their business.
Yeah.
Because they're still continuing to do it.
I think that for some people, the hard part is figuring out what you don't like, because, you feel like you have to like everything. But figuring out what you don't like, the easiest way for me to do that was to figure out what things I procrastinated on or what things I didn't do immediately, because with my personality, if I didn't do it immediately, that means I didn't want to. So I would write those things down, and then everything that was on that list, I was like, not mine anymore.
So like my biggest issue is because I always go like through this list of stuff that I hate, right? And I'm like, or like that I should hire someone to take over. And I'm always like, who the fuck would want to do this? And so then I feel like I'm never going to find somebody. I'm never going to find somebody good. And so like I go into like this spiral of all of these things that aren't real, right? Like we don't know that they're real. I'm just choosing to make them real. And then I stop yet again and I don't do anything because I allow myself to get paralyzed by all of this noise that I've created myself. And it's just another way for me to like have some bullshit excuse to not do what I need to do. I know that's the truth, but I'm just terrified of like finding somebody, training them, getting used to them. And then they're like, oh my God, this job is so stupid. And then they leave. And then I have to start all over again. And it's this fear that I can't seem to get around no matter what I do, whether it's talk to you guys, talk to a real estate coach, talk to a psychologist. Like I literally can't get around this piece for myself.
I would say that I was really fortunate in the fact that my husband is kind of an opposite personality to me. And those things that I didn't want to do initially, he was very good at and took over. So because right now you have your husband that's now joining your business, and he's probably trying to figure out what things he can take off your plate, you probably just really need to share that with him, and he will likely want to help you do that kind of thing because he doesn't want you to be stressed out, and you don't want to be stressed out.
No. So
the better you can get at communicating with him and having him take some of that shit off your plate, because you do trust him. Because inherently, that's the problem, is you don't want to delegate to somebody because you don't trust them.
Well, and I think the thing with my husband and like this piece of it is we're building 2 other businesses right now. And so I'm looking at it more right now, like now would probably be the best time to hire an admin, right? Like right now, like while we're going through all this growing pain shit and we're doing all this other stuff and we're meshing our lives together further, right? Than just being married and having kids and a mortgage. To me, I think now is actually the best time because then he never knows any different. He's always had an admin. He's always had help and he knows no different. So once you know no different, like he'll never not let us have an admin, right? Like that's my thought process now is like, maybe now's the right time to do it. And so this is something I'm really trying to figure out. And I've started to really journal every day what needs to be done and all the stuff that I don't want to do. I'm doing kind of what you do, which is the stuff I procrastinate on. It's clearly the shit I don't want to do. And those are the first things that need to be offloaded.
What about like a personal assistant, not just an assistant, but somebody that can assist both of you guys in creating systems, organization, that kind of thing, for both of you and all of your businesses?
So that's exactly what in a perfect world, like that's what I want to do, is have someone who, my business is a mess and I just want you to clean it up, fix it, throw the systems in place. And I don't really care. And this is something shockingly that I have come to a place where I'm like, this is something I would absolutely be willing to give up because I'm clearly not good at it. I've been doing this for 8 years now. I don't have these systems in place and I'm never fucking going to. And that is just the truth. So I just need to hire someone who's a high C, who really is into the details, who's really into digging into the meat and potatoes of all the stuff that I don't care about. I don't
find that person. What would they currently be doing?
I don't know the answer to that. Like, these are all things that like we've just started kind of talking about. So I don't know. My guess is they're probably like a stay-at-home mom of like 9 kids.
They run like a well-oiled system.
Exactly. Well, we were just on a podcast before recording, and you know, I've always said I need a wife, not an assistant. And it was funny because that's the person we were interviewing said the same thing. And I was like, finally, somebody gets me. I need a wife. I need sister wives.
Yeah. Yeah, we need multiple ones
Yes,
that do different facets of our life. But yeah, I would start by figuring out like exactly who that person is, you know, personality wise and traits wise. It's not going to be somebody that ever wants to be a high producing realtor per se, just someone that is good at checking tasks off and putting systems in place. So go to where they have really good systems, and you'll probably find that person that you're looking for. So that's what I would say. What
I actually don't want them to be a real estate agent. I think that's the number one thing on my list. Like I do not want them to be licensed. I don't want any of that.
That's the frustrating thing, because once you finally get your assistant up and running, I don't know, we must make this shit look easy as hell, because the second that you get them like up and running and they're like solid, ready to go, then they're like, oh, I'm gonna get my real estate license. Really?
Which I think is like, depending on the person, could be a blessing. But I think like, I don't know. I really think that I wouldn't want them to be licensed or get licensed. Like, your role is an admin. Your role is you're the manager of operations. You have a bigger role than I fucking have. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, to be honest, the selling of real estate and the transactional part of this is the easy part.
Yeah.
Keeping it all in line and being able to grow it and learning how to build a team. That's the hard part. That's why we always have pain with building a team. I don't have a team. I just have a brokerage and we run it kind of like a team. But I don't have a traditional team, nor will I probably ever have a traditional team unless I'm completely out of production, which eventually will happen. But for right now, I enjoy that part of the business. So I'm going to keep doing it. So
I actually just registered for my managing broker class.
Fun.
So that's next on the of the to-do list. Like, we're just going to do it all at once. Like, I feel like Ian and I are going to just end up like, by the end of the year, I'm going to be like, we have like 7 businesses and I have this and I have that. Like, I think we're just going to go balls to the wall and it's going to be wild and really hard for the next 6 months. So if you guys see me crying a lot, like, just pat me on the back and tell me keep going.
There's no point to start one business when you can start 5 at the same time. So
I mean, I just figured,
I would say.
okay, let's just go all in. Like, if we're going to do this, then you're going to quit your job and you're going to come alongside me and we're going to be partners. Like, let's go all in and see because there's no better way to put your feet to the fire than to just go all in.
Yep. And I mean, there's nobody else better to do it with than the person that you trust with your kids, your relationship, everything, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I think that it's, kind of a natural thing to go into business with your spouse. Like Kristen has, I have, you are now, and Lindsay was, because there's nobody else that's going to understand this business the way that your spouse is. And, basically then every single conversation you have is a write-off, which is great. Every meal you ever have, because you're constantly talking about business and how to, grow it, or get out of it, or leave it to somebody else, or how to delegate it. And it said, I hired someone like that for my position at our commercial landscaping company and freed myself up for my real estate business. We have a coach for that business right now to help us just be owners, because I want to do real estate, and it is work to do real estate, and it is work. But we are systemizing our business to make it easier. Finding help was the best. Yeah, it's probably the best hires that I've made is replacing myself and stepping down from the managing broker position. So my husband is our employing broker at our brokerage, which I could not do what I do without him. He's got probably the hardest job at our brokerage, which is keeping me out of trouble because I'm constantly in it, because I can't shut my mouth, which is really the problem.
The problem for all of us.
I can't shut my mouth or my expressions, which I would have thought Botox would have helped with that, but no. Mm-mm.
No, it's when you go like this.
Yeah. Yep.
It's that. That's what the problem is. This is the only time I miss the masks, is when I'm like, oh my God, control it, hide it.
Yeah, I know. Nervous laugh instead. So what else is a pain point for you right now in business or life?
You know, it's funny because like after this last year of COVID, I think like everything felt like a pain point. Like the kids were home and you're trying to manage so much stuff. And so being in the summer season right now, I really, other than like this feast or famine feeling that I'm experiencing right now, I think everything feels really easy right now. Mm-hmm. And so that's been a really nice break for me. Where and is it easier? Like probably not. But because we've had such a hard season in general, just as human beings existing in 2020, everything feels just easier right now. And so I think the biggest thing that I struggle with is that I am definitely very much like this in the real estate world. I'll have 20 deals at once and then they all close. And then I'm like, oh shit, we got to climb the mountain again. And then it starts all over again. So I would say for me, just the consistency is something that I've always struggled with. And I feel like most agents are like that, because it's when you're in the thick of 20 transactions, you're not doing all the stuff that you need to be doing to get more transactions. So then when things slow down, you naturally start doing all the things to get transactions again. And so I don't know if that's something that will ever go away. And if that's also something that I just need to snuggle into and get used to. I do think having an admin will help control some of that.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it will definitely help.
What about you? What's your biggest pain point right now, other than getting out of your own way?
So I'm going to get really real for a second. My pain point right now is something called PMDD. So for other women out there that might not know what that is, it's premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So basically, I am a straight fucking bitch for a week and a half before I get my period. And it's not like I'm in pain. I'm just, my threshold for bullshit is like 0 or like -0. And I tend to burn bridges that week every month. I have no chill, and I have to kind of get away from people, or I'm going to burn a nasty bridge, and I don't want to do that. And so, so I have to go meet with another doctor because I had some medicine that was supposed to be helping with that. And while I took it for a while, I didn't see immediate results. And I'm that person that, like, if I don't see results, I'm not going to keep doing it. So I need to go and figure out how to control that a little bit better, because you can see it all over my face for that whole week. Like I just can't, I can't be empathetic or sympathetic at all. And all I hear is people complaining, and it's like my hot button, my pressure point. And so I need to go and figure out how to fix that part of me, because it's definitely a big problem and it's causing me a lot of stress in my life, my personal life, my business life, everything. It's basically like I'm on a hair trigger for that week. So if something small happens, it turns into a very big thing for me. So my husband's helped me realize that that's a problem and I need to fix it.
And he didn't tell you during that week because Josh is a smart man.
He's very smart, but he was very, very careful with how he said it, yes. But yeah, you know, I don't ever realize that it's causing me that much stress and that much pain, but it really is. So I don't know if it's a personality thing or what, but if you have any issues like that, if you can track it, and Josh is really good about tracking things. So if he can track it back, he can tell me, okay, it's always the same time. If you have this problem with this person the same week last month, like, or you had the same issue. So I'm going to get more help for that. So if anybody else is having issues like that, please go get help. You're not perfect. Like, try not to take it personally. Even though it is personal, it's probably just some kind of a chemical imbalance thing that's going on, a hormonal imbalance that you can probably get fixed and cause you less pain. So Annette said that she had that in the past and her husband figured it out. Yeah, I mean, self-care doesn't work for me. I don't understand it. I mean, I don't do self-care very well. That Annette mentioned. The only thing that I can think of that would be self-care is going to a doctor and asking for help. But that's one of the hard things, is saying, hey, I think I'm fucked up. I need some help. And I can't figure it out on my own.
I think it's interesting too, because I know that I've struggled with some health stuff the last year. I know, you know, some of other people I know in real estate have as well. And I think it's interesting to hear you say, like, it took us a long time to get to a place where even we would go and deal with our own health, right? Like, we're everything to everyone else, whether it's our clients, our kids, our husbands, yet we don't even take time out of our week to go take care of ourselves. And I think it's so paramount as a woman that we don't do that. And we have to make time. Part of self-care is going to the doctor and making sure that we're healthy and we're functioning and we're running at a level that we can continue to do all the things that we do.
Yep.
No,
I mean, most of us didn't have health insurance for a long time. Like, shit, we don't have it again now. But like we go without all the time in all things, and everybody else gets everything they could possibly need, but we're always last. Why is that? Like, why haven't I eaten lunch for like 3 fucking weeks? Because I'm too busy.
And why haven't I eaten lunch and I'm not losing any weight? Like, fuck that shit too.
Like, why do we never eat? Like, that's probably why I eat Snickers in the shower. That's probably the problem.
Yep. Absolutely.
But yeah, like, even a small thing like going to lunch and like making sure that you have food. Like, why do we do that? But it seems like we always put ourselves last, and that's part of the issue. But it's probably because when I go to put myself first or take care of myself, I have guilt, and I don't know why that is. But the taking care of yourself guilt instead of taking care of somebody else, I don't know why it is, but I always have that weird guilt, that underlying.
It's because you're a mom and a wife, and a realtor, a therapist, all the things.
Yeah. But I think that's something that, you know, we probably all struggle with. So.
Absolutely. Yep. This business is wild. And I think that it's really wild in ways that we don't talk about. And it affects us all differently, but it's also like the same overall encompassing theme that we all experience, and we just don't ever talk about it.
Yeah. Well, we overshared today.
Right? Basically, we're a bunch of anxiety-ridden disasters. So neat.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's it for today. What do you think?
I think so. I think next week we'll talk about a little lighter topic.
Right. Next week we'll go back. Yeah. And if you guys have any topics that you guys want to hear us talk about or jump in on, we would love, love, love your feedback. So send us a message, comment on any of our posts. But let us know. Like, this is kind of your show too. So holler at your girls.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you guys for joining us today.